The big, beautiful tax bill breakdown of 2025, the winners, the losers, and the deficit, right here on the Economics Report. The one big, beautiful tax bill is a $1 trillion tax and spending package promised to boost growth, but critics say it's piling more debt on our kids. Let's break it down.
The big, beautiful bill is facing major headwinds as Senate Republicans try to get it to President Trump's desk by Friday. Senators have spent the past several hours in a vote-a-rama, with those against the bill taking every opportunity to stall it. Christiane Cordero has the latest from Washington.
With just days to go before President Trump's self-imposed deadline of the 4th of July, today Senate Majority Leader John Thune is courting his fellow Republicans.
So what's inside anyway? Permanency for the 2017 tax cuts. Those tax cuts were put in by Donald Trump in the first administration he had. That would be Trump 45. But now the SALT cap is being raised to $40,000. Tip and overtime tax exemptions, $150 billion in military infrastructure spending, and hold on, Medicaid and Medicare and SNAP cuts. Wow, this is crazy stuff. Let's break this down into more detail and give you the information you need to know so you can prepare, because once again, this story is about how Wall Street and DC politics hit Main Street. Once again, I'm Brian. Thanks for joining me. And if I could ask you for a like and a subscribe, it does wonders for the channel. YouTube loves it. Of course, I'm able to provide you with inside information on a daily basis delivered right to your inbox. Let's continue. So you may ask yourself the question, like most of us, who are the winners and losers of the big, beautiful bill? And I want to make sure that I'm understanding that there seems to be something for everyone in there. And when I say everyone, that means everyone's going to be affected by the big, beautiful bill. Some of them in a negative way, some of them in a very positive way. But let's talk about this in more detail. Winners right now is middle-income households, retirees, tip earners. They seem to be big winners out of this bill. The losers, well, they tend to be the lowest income Americans, Medicaid users, and energy states tend to be taking a beating on this one.
Includes roughly $4 trillion in tax cuts, paid for in part by big cuts to Medicaid that the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office estimates would lead to nearly 12 million Americans potentially losing their health insurance coverage over the next decade. The CBO also estimates the bill will add more than $3 trillion to the national deficit over the next decade. Senate Republicans can only afford to lose 3 votes.
To my Republican colleagues, let me offer a warning in good faith. You all know that Donald Trump makes things up. When Donald Trump says this bill won't cut Medicaid, he's lying. When he says this bill will grow the economy, he's lying.
Some Republican senators have slammed the price tag, as has Elon Musk, who calls the bill utterly insane and destructive. Musk also a critic of the bill's big slashes to Biden-era clean energy initiatives.
According to the Congressional Budget Office, 10.9 million people living in the United States, noted, I did not say citizens, 10.9 million people living inside the United States are going to lose their insurance. The poorest lose $1.6 thousand a year, while the wealthiest gain approximately $12,000 a year. We want to take a closer look at this because there's a story within a story. The thing that we really need to pay close attention to is the deficit battle, because this isn't. So let's take a closer look at the deficit battle, because that really is the story within the story. Now, if you can remember back to Elon Musk and his Doge team, they were going through eliminating government spending. Remember, they were trying to do this in order to balance the U.S. budget, do great things by cutting government waste. But all that seems for naught. Even though Donald Trump ran on cutting government waste, the bill actually adds $3.3 trillion. Now, of course, that's the Senate version of this bill. I do not know exactly what the House will do, but once the House passes theirs, the Senate passes theirs, and of course there's a reconciliation meeting to go through. But I'm just saying that the Congressional Budget Office projects $2.8 to $3.3 trillion added to the deficit over the next 10 years, including interest. But the GOP claims growth offsets costs, that all the savings that will come in this big, beautiful budget are actually going to spur growth inside the United States. And what's going to happen in the meantime is that the government's going to gain more revenue. Let's face it, folks, the GOP is saying that this growth is really going to help out a ton. There are a number of nonpartisan reports that say short-lived boosts in spending before the debt burden kicks in. These are things that are going to hopefully help spur the U.S. economy and also allow us to pay back those deficits. That's the hope, right? So you might ask yourself, like, what are the long-term implications of the big, beautiful bill? Well, I can share a couple of these with you. First of all, interest rates could conceivably go up, and that's a scary thought that nobody wants to hear. And of course, if the United States appears to be in a position where it's not able to pay back its debt in a timely fashion, then all of a sudden we lose our bond rating. And if we lose our bond rating, well, all of a sudden loans to the United States get really expensive. And you go into the death spiral cycle, and nobody wants to see that. Here's what the death spiral cycle looks like. And you'll notice we have money that we need to spend, and we need to spend less money, but the problem is that we have more obligations, and the next thing you know, the United States is in a position where it cannot pay its debt, and of course, that means an end to the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. So we really do want to pay attention to the story because it affects every single person who does business in U.S. dollars. I also want to make sure that we're taking a closer look at the community impact of the big, beautiful bill, because it appears as though rural hospitals are going to be compromised by, once again, a lack of spending outlay. Education, which always seems to be affected by any kind of government cuts and government spending. And of course, energy sector seems to be getting hit the hardest as of right now.
CNBC's Jay O'Brien spoke with Micah Gold-Markle, who runs a small solar panel company in Philadelphia. Micah worries what it means for his business if potential customers no longer have incentives like solar panel tax credits.
I'm concerned that we would have to have the size of our company.
We're talking about 30 jobs.
We're talking about 30 jobs. That's right. I mean, it hurts to say that.
So what should you do now? Talk to your tax advisor and make sure you're staying informed, because your tax person should have a little bit of a better reading on what you can do to prepare yourself for the future. And of course, an uncertain future, but we should have a little bit of a better read on the big, beautiful bill by about 2 or 3 days after July 4th. So maybe July 5th, maybe July 6th, maybe sooner, possibly later. If you're a farmer, you're a teacher, you're a retiree, measure benefits versus some of the social cuts that are going to happen from this big, beautiful bill. Hey, I'm Brian, and I am here at the Economic Report. I want to remind you that the biggest bill in years affects all of us, like without a doubt from spending. And drop your zip code here in comments, because I'd be really curious to know how you are looking at this big, beautiful bill. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Are government job cuts really hurting your community? Or maybe they're helping it. Maybe the prospects of what the future holds really can help bring this country to a completely different new economic level and bring us all forward, or, dare I say, take us all back. Hey, I want to remind you folks that the biggest battle we fight every day is the one between our ears. Healthy thoughts and healthy attitudes and actions really make all the difference. So take care of yourself, because your health matters, and I'll catch you next video. Thanks for liking and subscribing.